into the 70s, and he finished the day on 91 not out, with England 260 for 9. Michael Blakey, BBC.
129 runs. Or to his overnight score before he was out.
Relationship between Eric and me?
Yeah.
Absolutely none.
Dilly had deceived him with extra bounce, and Richards was disgusted that he hadn't been able to turn a fairy tale into a legend. The rest of the morning belonged to Richards' best pal, Ian Botham. Mattis on 71 had to be stopped. Two balls later, Botham produced a beauty to beat Gomes. And in his next over, England's much maligned captain did it again. Murray this time, and for once the West Indies had collapsed. Most of us had despaired of ever seeing Botham on this form again. Then it was Stevenson to Roberts to complete England's best session of the whole tour. Tony Francis, ITN Sport, Antigua.
In the 2-hour session, it looked in menacing form. This was followed by something few people have witnessed, a West Indies middle-order batting collapse. Butch took the catch to dismiss Everton Mattis, who made 71. Botham hasn't had much success on the tour so far. He must have been delighted with his form this morning. Jeff Boycott completed the catch to give Botham his 3rd wicket in 2 overs, and Murray had gone. Stevenson came into the attack from the pavilion end. Roberts had gone for 13, and West Indies were 296 for 7. After lunch, Clive Lloyd stopped the rot, and once again the match swung the way of the West Indies. The West Indies lead was over 100, and Lloyd looked to have the match and the series at his mercy. Downton's catch gave Stevenson his 3rd wicket, but the innings by Lloyd had come at the right moment for the West Indies. West Indies were down to their last 2 players. Now it was Michael Holding who thrashed Embury. The 2 sixes took him to 42, and the match was well beyond the reach of England.
Washington Natal. He was hit in the chest.
Yesterday, and the match was well beyond the reach of England.
Washington Natal. He was hit in the chest.
Yesterday. Boycott and Gooch will be back at the crease tomorrow, with England 7 for none in their 2nd innings, 190 runs behind, but still a long way from avoiding an innings defeat. Tony Francis is in Antigua.
England's hopes of restricting the West Indies to a moderate lead began to evaporate when Lloyd slipped into gear. There are few finer sights than the big man cutting loose, though Botham wouldn't necessarily agree. The lead had passed 100 before Stevenson finally dislodged the West Indies captain. But what was to come destroyed all the headway England's bowlers had made earlier in the day. After Garner enjoyed himself, Holding ran riot. 2 soaring 6s off Embury's over took him towards a whirlwind half-century, and out came the Calypso kitchenware as the tail-enders made a mockery of some very tired bowling. The last 2 wickets had put on 90, and Lloyd could afford the luxury of a declaration.
Play was abandoned for the day after an inspection. Still need another 190 runs to avoid an innings.
Knocked off their deficit of 190 runs shortly before tea, and the latest score is England's 200.
The focus of an anti-apartheid campaign during the tour because of his South African connections.
Kingston still